Val-Kill medal to Bernard Handel. Is a gentleman who is a founding member of the Obie Award-winning company 13P, which stands for 13 Playwrights. He's a resident playwright at the New Dramatists, a 2007 Helen Merrill Award recipient, and the winner of the 2010 Whitfield Cook Prize for New Writing. His work has been produced and developed in New York, London, New Haven, Denver, and Portland, Oregon. His plays Millicent Scowlworthy and Aphrodisiac have just been published by Samuel French. He lives in Pittsburgh, where he is associate professor at Carnegie Mellon University and heads the dramatic writing graduate program, the MFA there. Most importantly, he is related to two recipients today. Now, I teach social media at Marist, and I first met him online as his Twitter handle. He is Sailor Dog Handel. I'll let him explain that. But he's also known as Bernard and Shirley Handel's son. Please welcome Rob Handel.
So I suppose the danger of inviting a member of your family to introduce you is that they'll tell an embarrassing story. Yeah, so this is such a story, but actually only I get embarrassed in it. So when I was very soon after I left college, I started a theater company that was intended to change the world, and it failed to change the world, and it collapsed in disarray almost immediately. And I was very distressed, and took it really hard. And a friend said, "Don't worry, you'll start another theater company someday, and it'll win an Obie Award. It'll be all right." But at the time, I didn't believe them, and they said, "Well, you're taking this really badly. Maybe you should try therapy." So I got a recommendation, and I went to see a therapist. And so the therapist started. The first time I met him, the therapist asked me for the story of my life, and I told him about my childhood and all those embarrassing questions that they asked you. And so after 49 minutes or so, he said, "Well, we have to stop, but I think you should come. You can come see me a few more times. It will help you work on this, anxiety. But you're going to be fine." And I said, "How do you know I'm going to be fine? You just met me." And he said, "You have good values." And I said, so I thought, how does he know that? I don't remember. I remember getting a lot of things, but I don't remember, values. I don't remember getting a package that said values from my parents, or I don't remember them ever sitting down and telling me what was valuable and what was not valuable. But now in retrospect, now that I'm a parent myself, I understand that actually you learn these things through modeling. So it made me think about what were the things I saw my parents doing as I was growing up. Well, I remember them taking me to a lot of concerts by the Hudson Valley Philharmonic, where I learned to love music, and taking me to plays at the Bardavon, where I learned to love theater. And I remember knowing that they were on the boards of these organizations, helping to make them exist and keep them healthy, because these are the things that they believe that a community should have. And I remember traveling a lot and with them and going to places around the country where my father was speaking about something called Employee Health Benefit Plans, which I came to understand was something that he had helped create in order to help people and prevent them from being taken advantage of, because that was something that they thought was important. And I remembered a summer that I was not allowed to enter the garage because it was being used as an office where my dad was writing a book on this subject, because one of the things that he believed was that you had to share what you learned with other people. And finally, I even remember actually him working on this book while we were theoretically on vacation in Bermuda at one point. And finally, I remember telling my parents that I wanted to pursue a career in the arts, and having them actually tell me that I could do that, which was rather shocking. And that was very hard, but that they would support me, because I think the message there being that they believe that people were here to fulfill their dreams. And so finally, my therapist heard this whole story, and he said, "Well, why do you want to start a theater company anyway? It sounds very difficult. Why don't you just be a writer? Just write the stuff." And I said, "Well, because I like to make things happen. And this is something else I think I get from my parents." So it's a great pleasure to introduce my father, Bernard Handel.
thank you. That was a great introduction. I'm going to stop right now. It's a great honor to be awarded this illustrious medal and to join the co-medalists receiving the award this year and those who have received it in the past. It's really awesome to be in their company. I also feel very privileged to be honored along with my wife Shirley, who probably deserves it more than me, and she has performed an unbelievable amount of community service and has always found time somehow to do so many things in addition to being a fantastic wife and mother and stepmother to so many children and grandchildren. Franklin Delano Roosevelt played major significant roles in my life. My family lived through the very difficult days of the Great Depression, during which my father lost his business and was unemployed for many years. While the security nets developed by the New Deal did not really benefit people at that time, he did work with WPA and projects, and we were assisted by many governmental programs. My parents were extremely grateful to the Roosevelts. My father worked for many election campaigns, and Mrs. Roosevelt's newspaper columns were really must-reading. I recall that my father thought that Eleanor and influenced Franklin as president to be much more involved with the problems of common people than he had shown as governor of New York. Like most people of my generation, Franklin was the only president we ever had. From the day I was a little child, to the day I entered enough military service, we only had Franklin as president and Eleanor as first lady. I went to work full-time at age 16 as an evening college student. I received fully paid scholarships for my undergraduate education from the city and state of New York, and after the war, graduate education under the GI Bill. I have been most fortunate to really live in the American dream, and I am grateful for it. I had great success in business and had much satisfaction for some of our accomplishments. Our business ventures resulted in substantial benefits for many people while we made money. From health insurance for older and retired people who were uninsured before Medicare, and millions of workers in multi-employer industries. Those workers had been shut out of the traditional cornerstones of employment. They never worked for one employer for long enough periods to qualify for benefits. They were the itinerant musicians, the actors, the day laborers, construction workers, longshoremen, waiters, farm workers, people in those industries who work for many employers every year when they do work. Our plans brought them vacations, savings plans, health insurance, pensions, and all the normal attributes of the American dream. For many years, my wife and I were able to provide grants to worthy nonprofit causes and to create a foundation. Winston Churchill said that we make a living by what we get, we make a life by what we give. We both subscribe to that philosophy of payback. To me, the first child of a 19-year-old immigrant young lady from Ireland and an Australian immigrant not much older, it's a great thrill to see my name on the walls and rooms of hospitals, colleges, and schools, and for lecture series and scholarships. I think I benefit more than the beneficiaries. In conclusion, it's wonderful for Shirley and me to receive this fantastic award with some of our children and friends here, and one grandchild. The Eleanor Roosevelt Center does a wonderful job perpetuating the legacy of Eleanor and what she stands for. Universal human rights, individual unlimited freedom for every person. It is a humbling experience to join with our co-medalists in receiving this honor in her memory. Thank you.